it's not like you're watching football, or it's not like you're watching MMA or boxing. It's there's a totally different ball game to it. If you don't, they have it is characters and they develop, and that's they go all out. Whether it's for 5 minute match or whether for an hour match. You don't see too many hour matches, but you know, it takes a lot of bumps, a lot of planning, a lot of keeping yourself healthy. It's just to where it's I respect a lot of athletes out there, whether if you're not in wrestling, but for anybody who is, and all that stuff's fake. Or even if you're not an athlete, it's like you're not looking at the show. You're not looking at what the sport is, and what it takes to be it. So,
well, it has a little bit of that, and the fact people take into consideration. Yes, they're not really trying to hurt themselves. That's the reason why it's fake, and they have to be able to maneuver and keep people safe. I mean, you've seen several instances. I'll give an example when I forgot who else did dive, but Sheamus and Wade Barrett had to catch him. When they caught him wrong and broke Wade Barrett's arm. And that's something that can easily happen. And kind of what you said, it's a constant thing. A lot of times people are on the road for over 300 plus days. I think at one point Dolph Ziggler said that his schedule was 330 days. And you have to try and keep healthy and not get injured and be there, for all those weeks, for all those performances. And there's no other thing that's an athletic-driven form of entertainment that has to do that. There is off seasons for virtually any and every sport, even some things that you and I had in discussion before this that I don't even consider a sport. But they have to be there and be readily available. And for a lot of wrestlers, especially in the WWE, you have to do a couple shows a week, if not more than that. They have to do press appearances. They also have to maintain their strength and conditioning in the gym and things of that nature. So it is a strenuous job. And one of the things that you and I talked about, even with Justin Credible, especially with weapons, and in his cases, even mentioned having a ending awkward, that would give him a concussion. That's dangerous for him, and it has long-term side effects after that.
I believe he said he had over 20 concussions.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, what was it? Over 20. Yeah,
so there's moves he couldn't take because of it.
Absolutely. It's that's where me and you disagree, not being a sport, and it's to where if you're an athlete, you're doing athletics, especially an athlete going in and putting your body to work, doing athletics, sport. I mean, of course, there's other sports out there that people don't look at sports, and that's their opinion. But wrestling, it's you're going in there showing off your athleticism, putting on stunning moves or just ordinary average moves. It's it's got a sport in it, but it's you got to act it out. Obviously, there's acting. You have to be an actor. You have to know how to sell moves too. Obviously, it's that fake terms where it's it just bugs the shit out of me. And it's predetermined, but still going to bust your ass. You talk about traveling. I'm not an athlete. It's been a long time since I've been an athlete, but I'm not an athlete. I had never traveled 365 or 330 days a year, etc. But I travel a lot myself, doing touring, and I don't stay on the road that much. I wish I kind of had a little more time on the road. But when I was out on the road singing, it was to where when I had, if I wasn't singing, I was at the office doing business. When I'm going on the road traveling, I got tired of going from state to state. It's you're driving, and it's like even flying gets you a little jet lag, but driving was even more strenuous. And it's just, of course, it takes out your vocals, you're tired, and so forth. But it's part of the game, part of it, part of the business. So it's just I don't travel like WWE does, like I said, but it's or even other wrestlers in different companies, but it's traveling takes it out of you, especially, and I don't take beatings, so they take beatings every night. So that's why I have more respect factor on not only just wrestling, but also the traveling
Well, one of the things you mentioned was, especially with the traveling. That's why some wrestlers, including Randy Orton, have a bus because
And
it's
that's smart.
better on his body than driving and flying. He's able to lay down in the back and rest his body after a match.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, it's very
absolutely.
smart.
It's good. I mean, if you can afford to do it, obviously do it. It's smart and it's healthier. I never had a bus. Unfortunately, I never kept that yet at level. But yeah, it's if you can get a bus, that's that's the way to go. Absolutely.
Well, speaking with Randy, one of the things there's things I disagree with him as a performer. Be that as it may, you gotta give him a lot of credit for remaining in relatively good shape throughout the continuation of his career.
Yeah.
Because you and I both know with watching guys that usually are in there for a while, you could tell that they're taking a beating on their bodies because either they'll gain weight or lose muscle tone, things like that. And Randy has kept it up for how long has he been doing this actively on TV since? He's been on TV since 2001 or 3?
In training, you're talking about training school, you're talking about actually debuting.
Debuting and being on TV.
I think that was in 2002.
Okay, so right around there. Well, still, that's almost 20 years actively in the game. And he didn't have those ups and downs physically.
Oh, yeah.
That you typically see with someone that's been in as long as he has.
Last I knew, Orton has had a long time problem with one of his shoulders too. He's talked about that in the past. I don't know if he still has
his right shoulder.
Right shoulder, okay. Yeah, he's had problems that he has to do extra workouts or stretching and different things like that. I'm assuming he still has that issue.
Well, he mentioned that on Stone Cold's podcast or the Broken Skull sessions that he had to change up his finisher because he would have issues with his right shoulder in doing the what was the O-Zone back in the day.
Yeah,
what was that? What does MVP call it? Play of the day? Is that what it's called, or playmaker, or
playmaker?
Okay, yeah.
So a few other people use it too. I think Cody Rhodes uses it for a little while. Yeah, he used it for a while too. So he basically just,
I know. Okay, so this is going to be relative to the whole fake thing because sitting there. Am I the only one that thinks that move doesn't make any damn sense?
Well, it does. I just don't think it's a very good finisher. I mean, yeah, it looks painful enough, but it's just it's not what I would say is the best finisher. But it's something, I guess. What best way I can say it is if you're new into the game and you need something to do to have a finisher, I guess that's where you kind of start at. That's the best way I could say it. But from a non-wrestler, but I think it's an all right finisher. It's just something to start off with. I mean, also I think Carlito used it too for a while. There's a number of people who use it, but I talk about finishers though. I think it's all right. Probably better than what Wade Barrett used.
Are you talking about the Wasteland?
Yeah, Wasteland. Yeah. I would better.
It's on similar levels. And that kind of situation does not help from people that feel it's fake. Is that some of the moves like that just do not look painful. Do not look like they would put anyone away.
Yeah, there's some moves out there. Some finisher moves. I just, it didn't seem like a good selling point in the match. But of course, see a lot of wrestlers use the same finishers as somebody else too. It's like I know there's only so many moves you can do in this business. I understand that. It's to where you have so much showmanship. I understand that people are like, oh, it's just all show, and it's just like they're not, it's not doing anything. I'm like, you just got guys and girls in tights in their underwear, and that's all it is. Or guys like to touch each other. I'm like, it just looks weird, and it looks like they're not even wrestling. I'm like, I wouldn't say.
Okay. So the one thing I think is stupid about the whole guys like to touch each other bullshit.
Yeah. Oh my God, I heard that forever.
So the thing I disagree with that, and it kind of like you can kind of turn it back on them. Football, which is a man's sport, they smack each other in the ass. They pile on top of each other. That's touching each other. And then you have people that make the same argument about liking to touch each other in regards to pro wrestling, which then will sit there and watch Olympic wrestling. I get it. One's a competition, one's a show, but they're doing basically the same thing.
Okay, I've slapped somebody's ass a few times. Not like one person, but it's like hey, all right, yeah, that's good job, dude. Kind of something like that. But I don't feel the ass.
We play football with each other. Mark Lobin did that once before I threatened him.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, have mercy. Past times.
And that's when I was stubbing for the center. He did it once. I got myself. Look, Mark, I'm going to tell you straight up. If you do it again, I'm going to hit you.
It's all right, dude.
Yes. Okay. I don't play that. I didn't find it funny.
Well, I wouldn't say slap the ass while you're in position to hike the ball. I'm talking about like, hey, good job, dude. That's what I mean by that. But
no, he did that. He did that in position, and
yeah,
I was not okay with that.
Yeah, it's a little different there. That's
and relative to that, I ended up jamming his finger because I'm left-handed, and he didn't prep his hands for it.
That's his fault. So
yeah,
but I've always hated that damn. How many excuses we've heard, man? All that bullshit's fake. All that fake bullshit. And no, they just want to touch each other. And, they're not really hurting each other. It's they do get hurt.
I wonder how shocked they would be if they watch an action movie and realize the buildings didn't actually explode.
Yeah, exactly. That's my minor point. Is like, my favorite action movie, one of them that's kind of tied between two, is Die Hard. The first one mainly. But the second one's cool too. I also like the first Speed with Keanu Reeves, and I know obviously we all know things are not blowing up and they're not getting killed for real. So what's the big difference? So all that's fake stuff. I'm like, so is movies, so is Hollywood. So what's but the thing is we're emotionally involved. Like we're emotionally involved in a movie or a TV show. Same thing. It's just different. It's just a different type of entertainment. That's obviously people watch football. I love football myself, but the winners are not predetermined. But it's just they don't like the theatricals of it because it makes it look fake. Well, I see theatricals different places too.
So about that, there's actually a YouTube channel that I'll check out, and it's these MMA guys doing wrestling submissions and saying whether or not they actually hurt or not, and use stuff that are comparable to in MMA and similarities and things like that. Some of the submissions actually hurt. One of the ones that did not hurt at all was the Anaconda Vice that CM Punk used to use. But they've done stuff like the Cloverleaf, the Sharpshooter, the Rings of Saturn, the Calf Crusher, things like that. And
I've been in some of those moves. I've been in some of those moves before. My brother, and they do hurt.
Figure 4. Well, that's the thing. A lot of them, like, yes, they do hurt, and a lot of times, guys in the WWE will go ahead and stretch to make sure that they don't get injured and things like that. Because normally you won't see stuff like this that would, have a win or anything like that. One of them that really hurt the guy, like he was kind of done with it almost immediately, was the Regal Stretch.
Yeah,
which is like an STF, Rings of Saturn style move.
Absolutely. To clarify one thing to listeners who don't know, or just because I've had a few people have sent text messages who are not into wrestling whatsoever, but they listen to it because that I'm doing the co-host here, is that they don't know anything about wrestling. Now, I'm not saying that there's no. Yes, this has that effect to an extent. That's like the extent is the show part of it, and the more it's predetermined. I'm not saying that these men and women are trying to go out there really literally hurt each other or kill someone. That's not what, we know that. We all know that. Wrestling fans know that. So forth, so on. It's not saying, it's all real, so there's no fakeness to it. I'm not saying there's not, but it's a predetermined thing where you're not trying to go out there and hurt somebody, but it's a show. So it's like, some people like, I was younger, it's fake. I was a kid. Obviously, I didn't know it was fake. I didn't know. I didn't know the fakeness behind it. I didn't know that these guys and girls were trying to literally hurt each other and they enemies. So, of course, back behind the